Neil, so it's our next guest. Thanks for helping inspire. Always good to see you, Vince. Have your next conversation. Stephen A. I'll start with you here. What does this all mean now for Giannis?
Well, listen, I mean, the choice is going to be his. I think that right now what you're saying is that, you know what, Milwaukee, you can trust them to keep their promise in terms of going above the luxury tax. They'll do anything it takes to make Giannis happy to keep it afloat. There's no question. The question is, who's going to want to come to Milwaukee? You're not going to get a free agent to come there, a marquee free agent to come there, and you're not going to necessarily find that in the draft, which means that you're going to have to trade. So you've got the contract of Eric Bledsoe. Clearly, even though he's talented, he's not the guy you want in the postseason. He's just proven too much to be ineffective in the postseason. So you're going to have to do something about that. If you're Giannis, you can't be happy on the fact that they bet on Eric Bledsoe at the expense of Malcolm Brogdon, who you ultimately lost to the Indiana Pacers. You look at Chris Middleton, he can ball, but clearly an ideal situation for him is being a third offensive option. So you've got to have a secondary offensive option. I don't know who that's going to be. We've heard the name Chris Paul. Chris Paul is 35 years old, though. He's approaching the downside of his career. We still consider him an elite talent, make no mistake about it. And I think he'd be a significant upgrade to Eric Bledsoe, which would definitely help them, particularly in the Eastern Conference. But you've got to have a bona fide secondary option. I honestly, God, don't know who that could be. You can do away with Brook Lopez. You can do away with Eric Bledsoe. You can do away with guys like that simply because the way the NBA game has changed. Even with Giannis at the 5, probably would have wanted to guard at big dudes, but some of the big dudes are stepping away from the basket anyway. So what difference does it make? You need mobile, athletic dudes on your front court, preferably with somebody who can put the ball in the hole, so you don't have to allow or rely upon the struggling perimeter shooting of a Giannis Antetckcunmpo. You can't do that. So it's a tricky situation for them to do. Make no mistake about it. From a money standpoint, I definitely think they have the money and they're willing to spend the money in order to make it happen. The question is, who the hell can you get to come to Milwaukee? That is the challenge.
Pero wala ang pang wala sa tao eh. Kaya nila mapiyahon kita ng pang nila. Takaw ka?
When they played him cheap in the last offseason, the Bucks ownership blew it.
Basta Boston madaogan na yan.
And I will explain what I mean. First, in order to win a championship, let alone championships in the NBA, if you have a guy like Giannis, who's really a big dressed up to win, you need to put him with a dude as good as him, who's not.
Ay, kami labo.
It could be a ball handler or like a point or a wing, but he's got to be just as good as the big dude. Let me tell you what I mean. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has 6 championships. 1 with Oscar Robertson, 5 with Magic Johnson, and that's it. Not with anybody else. You need a guy as good as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, if it's a big, to win a single championship. Shaquille O'Neal. 3 with Kobe Bryant, 1 with Dwayne Wade, and that's it. Penny Hardaway wasn't good enough. So it can't just be, oh, that's a great player. It has to be a 6th-rate player. That's who wins championships in the NBA. 2 dudes like that, particularly if one of them is a big, right? Because you can see what happens. Giannis plays big, meaning physically big, not like well in the playoffs. That's got to happen. So how are you going to get a guy like that to Milwaukee? Stephen A., you're right. No one's ever going to sign him who's like that. In the history of the NBA, no one ever has. Not even one time. Has a guy signed a major, type-A free agent, signed a max-type contract in a place like Milwaukee. It just has never happened. And Giannis needs someone like Steph Curry or James Harden. You pair that with Giannis, yup, you'll win a championship. Probably. It is extra in the NBA. It is hard to win a championship. And here's where the ownership played him cheap, and I'm not trying to hear their nonsense now. They had Malcolm Brogdon and Mirotic on the team. Now, you can't have Mirotic wanting to go to Europe. Too bad, because he would have been a nice compliment to Giannis, considering Giannis doesn't really shoot, right? Well, Brogdon, you could have kept. And why is that important? It's important because if you want to get a top-level player now, you need to be able to trade for him, which means you have to have stuff people want, and you have to be able to match up the salary, right? Otherwise, you just gut your team, and when you trade for the other guy, you have no one left. Malcolm Brogdon was pivotal for them, not to choose between Bledsoe and Brogdon, to keep them both so they could eventually get someone to play with Giannis. They blew it. He's got to leave if he wants to win a championship.
Picture ko sa motor kay na Jason.
Well, I think it's positive. I think Milwaukee knows they messed up and losing Rodman. So they say, hey, we're willing to spend it all to get better. Milwaukee's not
Ay,
the
motor yung mahal ba?
market. You both said that.
Gusto ko mahal ba?
Don't see Giannis leaving.
Gusto ko mahal ba?
Giannis leaving. He looks up to Kobe. Kobe stayed in LA his
Motor
entire
niya.
career. And he found a way.
Nagabal ako na gusto ko. Hindi tiro dahil.
But his family and who's
Bati yung mag-i-live ba na ini?
Hindi, cancel na yung nabatian. Cancel na.
Na.
Cancel.
You're gonna promise me you're gonna find some talent, go find some talent. They're gonna spend the money, they're gonna go spend the money. I think they're gonna throw a lot of money at some players out there, even in the trade. I don't know. They're gonna figure it out. I don't see Giannis leaving right now. I just don't.
That's the challenge for me. I'm trying to figure out who the hell is available to go for. I mean, that's really what this comes down to. And I don't see a free agent choosing to go to Milwaukee. That's where they lose me in that regard. I don't see that happening. The only way you can pull it off is via a trade. I'm telling you right now, I definitely think listen, who wouldn't want to play with Giannis? Despite the fact that they butt heads with one another, you think that James Harden would have loved to have Giannis Antetokounmpo, Damian Lillard? Well, there's no question.
May ako sa gift ko man.
You think they would have loved to have him on
Unisex sabi naman.
Miami would love to have him.
Pwede sa lalaki, pwede sa mga babae.
But the bottom line is, what can you get at? Who can you get to come to Milwaukee? You're going to have to make a trade, and if you're the Milwaukee Bucks and you're going to trade him, you're going to need at least a perennial all-star in return for his services. I just don't see it out there.
Or at least a ton of draft picks and great ones. Like, it has to be probably a multi-team trade. But guys, take someone like Bradley Beal, right? Maybe the Bucks, if they still had Brogdon, and again, it's not their fault they don't have Mirotic because he decided to go to Europe, but if they still had a lot of assets to trade, maybe they could swing a deal for a guy like Bradley Beal, put him with Giannis. Is that good enough? Maybe, maybe not. That's how hard it is to win a championship, right? Bradley Beal is a 4.5-star player. You need another 5-star player to pair with Giannis if you really are trying to win. But that's how hard it is. You find a Bradley Beal. What are you going to trade for him at this point?
But Matt, here's the problem.
I also like the Chris Paul, and then maybe go get a guy who can get a bucket like a Victor Oladipo or a DeRozan.
Yep, that's true. That's true. But Max, you brought up Bradley Beal. Hold on, Max. You brought up Bradley Beal. If you're Giannis Antetokounmpo, you going to the nation's capital. You don't leave Milwaukee to go to the nation's capital. I mean, don't get me wrong. From a social life perspective, oh, make no mistake about it, that's a beautiful, beautiful move. But in basketball terms, who the hell is going to the nation's capital? Don't get me wrong. John Wall should be back healthy. We all know what John Wall can do with Bradley Beal. But Bradley Beal going to Milwaukee, how would that work?
I'm not saying for Antetckcunmpo to go to D.C. I'm saying to grab a star who maybe could be available for the right package and bring them to Milwaukee is the only way that Antetckcunmpo should stay in Milwaukee. And because they played him cheap, because they didn't want to pay the salary cap, the luxury tax, last year they lost Brogdon. There's a part that you can trade in a package for a